A lot of us are feeling pretty festive these days. What better time to throw a bash to celebrate the world opening back up again? Joining us is a nationally recognized party planner based right here in the Holy City. We'd like to welcome Lawson Roberts, executive producer for Lawson Events. It's great to see you.
Hey, Leyla, how are you?
Doing great. I've had the pleasure of being at your parties, and you throw a good one.
Thank you. They're never boring, that's for sure. I've
Yeah.
had camels appear out of nowhere. We have had all kinds of fun things, sword swallowers. We keep it interesting.
Yes, you certainly do. And I find it interesting that you call yourself an executive producer as opposed to a party planner, event planner. Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you, I got my start in theater acting, and that sort of transpired into production management and then producing. When you start and think about an event, what is an event? It's a one night only performance. So, hence an executive producer.
That makes total sense to me. You've
Yeah.
got presence in Los Angeles, New York City, and soon to be Nashville. So I'm sure between the four cities, major cities, you keep your hands pretty busy. But I want to talk about party planning in general because a lot of us, there's some of us who've never thrown a party before. It's a little daunting when you think
It
of.
it can be, and there are a lot of moving parts. And I tell people all the time, it takes two sides of a personality to be able to produce a party. One, the creative side, and then one, the analytical side. So you have to be able to sort of juxtapose both, or as I like to say, plate spinning like the Ed Sullivan show back in the
Yes.
day. There are a bunch of plates that are in the air, but it can be a big, big, daunting thought, but it doesn't have to be. And here's the magic of that. You just take, what we do, we sort of, when we meet with our clients, we will absolutely sit with them and go, okay, what's the marketing goal of your event? And they're like, well, what do you mean? We don't have a marketing goal. I said, well, what's the goal of your event if it's not a corporate event? Well, it's a birthday party. Okay, well, that's great. What's the age? And then we go back and we get to know the clients inside and out. And by that, what their favorite food is, what their favorite music is like, what their favorite colors are. That helps me and my team come back to the drawing table and go, okay, they love teal. Let's do something with like a nautical theme. And it really just sort of snowballs from there. And it's a
Right.
lot of fun.
I was
It's a
just,
little.
that sounds like the fun part, really.
That really is, to be honest. The planning of it is the fun part. The execution is actually when it becomes the real work to make sure everything is perfect.
And I want to talk about the execution in a second. I'm just curious, in a nutshell, how do you define the perfect party?
Well, the perfect party is defined by, in my opinion, seducing every one of your senses. So when you walk in, take for instance, the particular party that you attended was a circus themed event. So when you came in through the door, your visual was, all right, let's test your strength. And bam, as you were walking into the actual party, you smelt popcorn through an old school popcorn maker. Looking right to your left hand side, there was a wall of cotton candy, and you're like, wow, I'm at a carnival.
Yeah.
And again, first impression elements are what we are known for. We like to create the amazing statement well in advance of the actual getting into the party. It really helps set the entire tone of the evening.
The idea is to transport yourself to another place, another time. The most important elements for me when I go to a party, I have to say, one of the most important things to me is food. You get me through my stomach, and I will have a good time. So,
Well,
what
absolutely.
what are some of the other ways in which, what some of the other important elements that people need to make sure they've got on their checklist?
Well, you've got, like you mentioned, your food, because and that is, people will say one of three things about a party: the food was great, the entertainment was great, and the cocktails were great.
Right.
If you win, it's the trifecta, and that's the name of the game. So we like to, offer signature cocktails, because that makes sense too. So you get it coming, both ways. You get the
Right.
food and you get the beverage, which is always so much fun. For me, lighting is an amazing thing that has to be touched. I always like to tell people when I take a venue, whether it be a backyard, whether it be an event facility, I call it my blank canvas. And the reason I do that is we can add texture with plants and then uplight the plants, and it just makes the entire party pop. That's
And
the goal.
And you know something? A girl loves some good lighting. And this is a great place to take a break, Lawson. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the other elements. Also, we've got Piccolo Spoleto that's taking place in a matter of hours. So we're going to talk about some ways to gather your friends around in light of this fantastic event. We'll do that in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've been chatting with Lawson Roberts. He's executive producer for Lawson Events. And yes, we were talking about party planning. We were just talking about some of the best elements that you need to incorporate into a party. We talked about food, cocktails. You were just mentioning lighting, creating texture. Anything else that comes to mind that people at home who maybe can't afford a party planner can incorporate?
Sure, entertainment, music is always key to a party. And it doesn't have to be a big show band. It could simply be just a background soundtrack that you have put together. Entertainment is an easy way to make the party pop again. It doesn't have to be a big band. It could simply be a soundtrack that you put together. And, songs that bring back memories. Music is wonderful for that.
It certainly is. And you got to know your guests, have a good playlist that everybody likes. Okay, Piccolo Spoleto, some ideas for people. How do you incorporate the two into, say, your backyard or your living room?
Well, Spoleto and Piccolo both have been around for decades. Obviously, as you probably are aware, Spoleto Festival started in Spoleto, Italy, way back in the 70s, and was brought over to Charleston because Charleston reminded Spoleto. They were very, very similar in comparison with the architecture and the love of the arts. So with the love of the arts, people are doing all kinds of fun things. And a lot of the venues have really changed this year. It is 2021. We're just getting almost out of the whole COVID mess. With that being said, garden parties. Garden parties are absolutely the thing to do for celebrating Spoleto. Dining al fresco. There's nothing better than to put a farm table together with 16 of your friends and have family style meals. We're talking charcuterie and cheeses and crusty breads and amazing wines. And, if you want to get a little fancy, bring in a string trio, add that in, add some pots of hydrangea are blooming everywhere right now.
So gorgeous. One of my favorites. Yeah.
Me too. And so you take your hydrangea, you place them on the table, you put big silver platters of food, and just sit back and enjoy yourself. It's Memorial Day weekend. And you know what? It's time to celebrate. We've gotten through the majority of all this Michigas, as we call it.
That's right.
And there's no better reason than now to throw a party.
Okay, we've just got about 30 seconds left. Last question for you. A little bit loaded question, but is hiring a party planner going to break the bank? And is it possible to maybe plan the party yourself, but then to hire someone who can oversee everything so that, like you say, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy your guests?
I tell people this all the time. Actually, it's a question. Do you want to attend your party or do you want to work your party? And most people will say, I want to attend. As a matter of fact, hiring a planner will actually, in most occasions, save you money because they have the contacts to get things that you might not normally be able to get and at a wholesale rate.
Good point. Excellent point. Lawson, this is the first of many. I'm so excited to talk to you, and I look forward to some other parties that are coming up in the near future and ways that you can inspire us.
Leyla, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to it.
Thanks, Lawson. We're back in 2 minutes.